Let's talk about the next wave of opportunity. As far as I put a video in the group chat the other day.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Sure.
Yeah. So I mean, the video, it was interesting because we had talked about this maybe a month ago when you're like, everybody's talking AI, and they're talking GPUs, and that's great. But none of this works without power,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we've talked about who could lead in this space or where the space is headed. And yeah, long term, we know the solutions, but we don't have a long term idea here,
Mm-hmm.
right? This needs to be immediate, especially if, like we said, this is a national security issue. And so you start thinking short term. Who could be the short term people who can actually benefit from it? We've seen Caterpillar when we were talking about gas turbines,
Yep.
and it was like, yeah. So there's a near term solution in terms of natural gas turbines. The company that I've been studying, and I think has a great lead in it, and you guys can let me know what you think is going to be GE Vernova. So
Mm-hmm.
GEV, right? This is another one of these companies that was part of GE, split off, and now has become its own company. And the reason is because of those gas turbines. Right now, or 2024, we'll see what the 2025 numbers are. They captured 34% of the global gas turbine market. 34%
Mm-hmm.
last year. That number is going to increase as we see more AI data centers put online, right? We don't have nuclear reactors to fulfill the power that's needed. We don't have solar. We don't have it yet. What we do have is are gas turbines, and they're doing that. Why did I like it though? Right outside of that market share that they're dominating in, and and I'll give you a power. That's almost 106 megawatts, right? Or over 20,000 megawatts in orders for 2025. Who are their partners? Amazon, AWS. Who else on the US grid? Duke Energy. Who else
Duke is a sleeper.
renewable energy? Next Era Energy. Who else in developing engine? Chevron. You might have heard of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the real reason though. Not only is this a domestic thing, if you look at their international partnerships, you start to see a picture that's being painted, right? These data centers are not just going to be in America, although we would like them to be. They're
Mm-hmm.
being built all over, right? The number one thing that I loved was I saw that the GE Saudi Advanced Turbines, they've partnered with them. And so why does that make sense to me? Well, in May, we watched a conglomerate of our most brilliant minds in the world of business and AI go to Saudi.
Yep.
Why did they go? They went to go announce infrastructure in AI.
Mm-hmm.
They're starting to build that infrastructure. They also don't have the time. So if I start seeing American companies partnering with Saudi companies to provide energy, that tells me there's something there, and something you can build on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, GEV is a big boy heavyweight. If you're in EYL, you know that what that means, right? These are companies that have large options contracts, and so we looked inside the ETFs that have them, and we put a few out there. FPX is one of those that actually has pulled back a little bit, but energy is going to be a story. And I think GEV is going to be the one that is going to be leading that story here in the very near future, but definitely long term as well.
And I want to say once again, all energy companies are not created equal. I'm seeing it in this space too. There's a lot of startup or new IPO energy companies that are trying to position themselves. I want to be very clear. That's a winner. Nextera has been one of my favorites. It's been in Stock Club forever. But can we round out what you think the big four would be in terms of energy so people don't invest in maybe the 13th best energy company? Duke is a legacy company. I think that that's going to benefit as well.
This is one that we actually covered in our last mastermind, and somebody actually put in the chat, maybe it was there. I had Visha Energy is there as well.
Yep.
Visha is one of my favorites.
That's a great four.
I think Constellation will have a say in this as well. Obviously, when we start talking about their partnerships with Microsoft, I think Constellation plays a role in this. GEV plays a role. I knew it. This is a very smart audience.
For sure.
I knew somebody was going to put OKLO. Yes, they had a nice pullback. If I'm picking my four, I would probably pick those four, and then I would have as an asterisk, I would put OKLO just because.
Yeah,
as a fifth, just because I understand the story, I understand nuclear and how that's going to be powering us at a more efficient level. Short term, though, what's going to be the solution? And so that's why I think GEV is going to be the leader here. But yeah, that's a solid four. And again, if you can't decide on, hey, this one's a little bit too much. I've said it before. XLU Spiders energy
ETF.
ETF is just a solid place. And if you want to go look at some of those companies, go look at the top 2 or 3 or 4 in there. We've probably said them already, but look at the top 2 or 3 and 4 in there, because again, if we're looking at the body, right? If this is a body, you need fuel, right? In order for you to work. These data centers are going to need power, or none of this works. All those companies, the GPUs, the connectivity, none of it works if it doesn't have power.
And once again, in your investment journey, you only need 4 to 6 great stocks. Some of you can over-index and having 16 and 20, and you now have decay in your portfolio from having too much and not investing enough capital into the ones that are going to move. So I know it's exciting to hear about all of these, but you really only need 4 to 6 long term. But out of the energy list, I want you to pick tonight which one are the one you're going to focus on.
Okay. So let's talk about this, Ian. And then also one thing I forgot to mention, if the NVIDIA thing fills up and that's no longer available, even if that offer is taken off the table, if you sign up, you will get the video from NVIDIA. So if you miss the NVIDIA offer because it's just you missed that limit, you will get the video regardless.
That's amazing. Yeah.
They said, what's my 4? What's my 4? I had Constellation, I had Vistra, I had GEV, and I'll put Next Era there for now. Them and Duke, and then OKLO. We're going to keep our eye on. That's going to be in our watch list. That's going to definitely be in the watch list now.
Yeah, for me, Next Era, Duke, GEV are the 3 that I like and love a lot.
Ian, Bitcoin. So is this the time to get into Bitcoin? Are we looking at, overbought situation? Had a bounce back, which isn't uncommon for bears, historical, what it has done. I said even last week, it could go up to 100 even potentially. But what do you see? What do you see? What's your thoughts on the current state of Bitcoin?
From a technical analysis standpoint, I think when we got to that 80,009, 86 range, I think we probably are looking at the second best entry for the year. I think the first best, as most things were in April. I think we'll get a little bounce. Now, long term, am I still concerned about a pullback? Am I concerned about Sailor and MicroStrategy? Yes, but I think the price ratio or risk to reward ratio is so high at this level. It's almost hard for most institutions to turn down. Like if we look back in April, it got down to like 74. We got down to 80,747 last week. So that was a really good buying zone. I think 127 still is the top for the year, but I think we are in a buy zone from a technical analysis standpoint that is almost too hard to turn down. Is that a low to boat price? No, we kind of hinted at what the low to boat price would be last week, but I do think if you're looking to make an entry into Bitcoin, these levels are pretty good. Anywhere from that 82,000 level to 84,000 is a good zone to be buying.
Good old Bitcoin.
Okay. What about MicroStrategy?
What about it? Financial conspirator. It's your time to be in the comments.
Yeah, shout. I mean,
shout to you. Shout to my guy.
We had the conversation last week. Shout out to everybody that was in the comments, giving us all the facts about MicroStrategy. It is again, it doesn't move at the same rate of appreciation or depreciation as Bitcoin. So as we saw Bitcoin tick up a little bit today, strategy didn't do the same.
I want to be clear. He's under attack.
Okay. Okay.
And it reminds me a lot of Kathy. I think some of the reports of the timetable in which he'll get liquidated, like Michael's a fighter, so he's not going to go down without a fight. I do feel as though the banks have coordinated an attack against him because they want the position that he's in, and the institutions don't want a person who is not in their ecosystem to be the face of a global asset that they need to stop the unraveling of the losses that are sitting on their books. The banks have been sitting on losses for 3 years. And if we're going to be very honest, without inflation And the circular investment, we've been in a recession for 4 years. So is he under attack? Yes. Do I think he can weather the storm? I think so. Is it time to sell? I wouldn't say yet if you believe in him, but I do see a world where MicroStrategy probably could fall to maybe worst case scenario, maybe like $96.34 or 116.26. That would be like the levels I would personally like to get in a MicroStrategy. But if it gets to 50,000, they'll have to liquidate. It's a lot more complicated than that. I think when you have an asset that is so valuable to the global economy, the international banking institutions and funds may not like you being the face of that. 2 or 3 years ago, we would not see Larry Fink or Jamie talk their book of crypto or tokenization. Now it's one of the lead. They won't even speak of the fucking bond market no more. I haven't seen a fund manager in 2 years mention allocation into the bond market. It got replaced by Kathy's and Jack's and Michael's strategy. So I think he has a storm to weather. I hope he makes it through. But from a price basis, I think it can go lower. But I think there's value there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's obvious value. And based on the charts, it's tough. This is such a tough one. This isn't like any other company, right? Because we know exactly what it's tied to, and we know that it doesn't move at the same rate. But it almost becomes, if we're not at the floor, how far are we away from it?
I don't want to say worst case scenario because I don't want to come off sensational, but
yeah, because if we say worst case scenario, then it almost makes it correlate to now a new prediction for Bitcoin, right? Because if we say
they're not a 1-for-1 pairing if he's under attack, though.
So then then it's like contradictory, right? If it's not a 1-to-1 pairing, then what are we investing in?
The same as when you're investing in Musk and Tesla, you're investing into his brilliance.
Right. The idea.
It's solely on his brilliance. Because if so, okay, if Bitcoin and the market are almost 1-for-1 now, and MicroStrategy isn't 1-for-1 for Bitcoin, that tells you in itself the collusion.
It's tough. It's tough, and I don't think it's just a tough, like a market Monday's tough. Like I watch experts talk about this company, and they don't really understand what to do or what to say about it because of all the things that we're kind of mentioning. So I mean, we're in the right space with the level of I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure.
You got to obey price laws, though. If you bought it at too high of a price, my rule of thumb is 20-25% cut and then re-enter if you believe in the company. If you're above a 25% loss, you either have to average in or wait for a better price. But this is why the main reason I like buying the asset directly. But I do think if anyone can overcome some of these challenges, it's Mike. But we've seen this before with Kathy and others and Jack at Square. Jack's fall of Square was he won't say it because he's smart. That was a direct competitive thing with the banking institutions. Legendary guest at InvestFest gave a lot of brilliant insights. So you just have to understand that if it's not directly through, and this is why I like the investment into Vanguard or Invesco or BlackRock is so important. That institution in itself is a moat. They are the program.